The 5 Roots of Separation and Divorce, and Making the Right Choice. In our line of work, we often have couples come to us who have been embroiled in lawyer-negotiated separation agreements, and some are heading to court. There seems to be some common threads with these couples. More often than not, we hear their costs have ballooned. Their level of conflict has escalated. The focus is no longer on negotiating core interests, but haggling on positions. Their financial resources have been exhausted. They are emotionally exhausted. And many have taken on unnecessary debt to finance the litigation. The 2 most common threads are: when they began, they were unaware of all of the options available to them in separation and divorce. They thought using lawyers was the only option. They had the good sense to step back from the litigation and look for alternatives. I am telling you this because I am a firm believer it is imperative that separating couples must make informed decisions throughout their separation and divorce, including the process they choose. To that end, please let me take a few minutes of your time and I will explain the options available to you. When facing divorce, there are various routes available to you. But how do you know which route is right for you and your family? Deciding which path to take can overwhelm you when you don't understand the options available to you, especially when the decisions you make now can potentially mean the difference between spending a few $1,000s or tens of thousands, and can also mean the difference between a few months or even years of being entangled in a divorce process. Your future and the well-being of your children depend greatly on which route you take through the separation and divorce process. But how can you be sure you are making the right choice? Separation and divorce need not be stressful, painful, or expensive. If you are open to creating a soft landing for your family and would like to reduce your stress and what it will cost you while safeguarding your children, then stay with us for the next few minutes and let us be your guide when it comes to exploring all of your options when it comes to separation and divorce paths. The lawyer-negotiated option. It is always better to negotiate a settlement than going to family court. Unfortunately, some lawyers spin this into an adversarial, costly process. Lawyer negotiations are conducted by correspondence. Each correspondence they write will cost you both a few to several $100s. Suddenly, before you know it, several $1,000s of your hard-earned money has evaporated. With lawyer negotiations, it is possible for your case to end up in family court. Family court as a last resort. Family court should be considered as a last resort. It is highly adversarial, extremely expensive, painfully slow, and the results are difficult to predict. Sadly, there will be a winner and a loser. The adversarial nature of the process often escalates the animosity between the parties. The judge will decide about your family based on the law without regard to creating a soft landing for you and your family. Simply, the judge cannot be creative. When you think a judge who has not met you or your children and only has a minimal understanding of the context of the issues and how they relate to your family will make decisions that will affect the rest of your and your children's life, that is insane. The little-known arbitration approach. Arbitration is also an adversarial process, similar to the court process except that the parties and their lawyers choose the judge and determine the procedural steps. An arbitrator is given the powers of a judge. The right to decide your case is only on the basis of the law. Creative solutions that create soft landings for your family cannot be considered. The arbitrator applies the law as he or she sees fit. It's better than going to family court, but it is expensive, and you give the power to decide the case to the arbitrator. The boutique services of a collaborative team practice. For clients who prefer a less adversarial process and have their lawyer be present throughout the negotiations, and costs are not a major concern, then collaborative team practice could be an option. With collaborative, you will commit to not going to family court and to negotiating an acceptable settlement that works for you both. The collaborative process involves a non-adversarial team approach, using lawyers working with neutral parenting and financial specialists. Through a series of joint meetings with the professionals, you'll get the information you need to make the best decisions. the uptrending interest in mediation. Before we talk about this next family-friendly separation and divorce option, let's clear up the perspective about lawyers. Lawyers have a profit motive. This is not an indictment, it is simply a fact. If you ask your barber how you look, he'll say you need a haircut. If you ask lawyers what you need to do, they will likely say you need to sue. Don't get me wrong. There are many excellent, honest, and dedicated members of the family law bar, and it has been my privilege to know quite a few of them. But every one of those straight-talking, righteous lawyers can tell you horror stories about other lawyers. Even if you hire the most virtuous lawyer you can find, the other side might hook up with a barracuda, and your legal fees will be astounding. Better to engage a single professional neutral and work it all out without paying a number of lawyers to fight. Mediation is non-adversarial, future-focused, and a problem-solving process, not one about assigning blame. A creative process that allows you and your spouse to work with a neutral third party to develop a soft landing for you and your family. Normally, lawyers do not attend the mediation sessions. However, you can review the separation agreement with a lawyer prior to signing it. Usually, this is the best way to minimize the cost and the pain of divorce. How could the decision to mediate be so easy, but at the same time so difficult? The answer is simple. If you merely want to be a passenger and have the issues of where you are going, the route you will take, the speed you will travel, the rest stops, and how long and how hard you will drive be decided by someone else, then maybe mediation isn't for you. If you have the courage to take charge of your separation and the smarts to make your own decisions on how you will live your life, you are a good candidate for mediation. Divorce the Smart Way is here to help. Find out more about mediation and what it can do for you and your family by accepting our offer for a free 30-minute initial consultation.